Then, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, welcome back to Talking Pop Culture Live, our first one of the new year. Got about 3 weeks off. Got a special guest with me today from Lesser Known Comics, a indie publishing company up there in America. I'll start off, I hope you guys have the same way. I got to point in directions.
Yeah.
We got Mark. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having us on, and great to finally put a face to the name.
Yes. Mark and I have been talking a lot over the year. Been planning this for a while, and we finally got it done. And then down below we have Gabrielle. How are you, mate? In
Hi,
sunny.
how's it going,
Where are you? You in LA? Was it LA?
No, I'm in San Diego right now.
Oh, San Diego.
I'm at my house actually. So there's my
Wow,
palm trees.
must be nice.
Yeah, it's a lot more sunny here than it is where you guys are, I assume. So
Oh yeah,
quite-
no, it's very cold and dark where I am.
that
If I
totally
turn
fits your
my,
vibe though.
camera-
I don't want to see Charlie Ragnarok in any other form.
Listen,
cold and dark.
if I'm in the sun, I go from pale goth girl to lobster woman. So maybe I
believe
shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't go in the sun.
Well, and that we've also got Charlie down here below. I've got to point the opposite direction, do I?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, hi, I'm here, bottom corner.
Bottom corner there. So yeah, obviously you're all a part of Lesser Known Comics, I believe. What's the roles here? What's everyone? Mark, starting with you. What do you
So I started Lesser Known Comics unofficially November of 2020, and then we became a company in like February, and then shortly after ran into Charlie. I actually approached her first to do some illustration for us, and found out that she's an amazing writer, way better writer than myself. And I was like, you should be illustrating your own books instead of doing my stuff. That's how she came along. And then Gabe, he's our newest person, I think. Maybe no, Carrie's got you beat by like a couple of weeks. But yeah. And Gabe was already 2 books in, and he already had a finished product, and he said, hey, I want to bring this to Lesser Known Comics, and we've been getting along really, really well. It's been fun.
Nice. So Charlie, you're an artist, and I believe Gabrielle, you're an artist as well.
I'm a writer.
Right.
I would love to be an artist. Well, I guess I'm an artist of sorts, but no, I'm a writer. And actually, funny thing, Mark and I were just talking about this earlier today, how over the past couple of years, I've really learned how to just let go of the things I've wanted to do that I'm not good at, and just humbly accept that I'm not good at certain things, and just focus on the things I am good at, which in my opinion is writing and producing. So I'm just gonna stick to those things and let the true artists do their jobs, stay out of the way.
Charlie,
Yeah.
I was watching your live draw today on Facebook.
Was it like?
Well,
I
Instagram,
had
sorry.
it on Instagram.
Instagram.
My Instagram is connected to a Facebook, but I was like, wait, it's not on both, is it? Yeah, no. I am an illustrator. I went to school for illustration, so I'm an illustrator and writer. Yeah.
Nice. So how does Lesser Known Comics, how can people here, especially in Australia, so what up to Mad Spidey, who's a fellow Melburnian, and we also have Nick, who's a fellow Melburnian as well here in Australia. How can we read or get how do you guys do your comics? Obviously, I've seen you do the GoFundMe things where what are they called again? The
Kickstarter.
Kickstarters.
Kickstarters, that's it. seen you guys doing them. Is there a way that people can get a hold of your stuff?
Yeah, so the best place first to start is lesserknowncomics.com. We got a bunch of stuff, first and foremost, for like free download there. We try and put as much stuff for free download so that people can kind of get a sense of the quality before, ordering the books. And then we grew faster than I anticipated. Like we're up to 14 new creators and we got I think 4 more that are like onboarding, so we're setting up the distribution and we're setting up all the things for like the digital platforms, but certainly at the moment, going to lesserknowncomics.com, you can read, you can order everything, and get anything you want in terms of comic books set up there. And actually, we just placed an order that's going out to Australia.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the links to the website in the description bar, so make sure you go head over there. I've only read about I only read the first 7 issues so far, 8 issues of the lesser known comic. I've just got so many books, so many comics. I'm so behind, it's ridiculous. But I really liked, I don't know who wrote this one, if it was you, Mark, or not, the Western one. I think it was like issue 5 or 6, 4 or 5.
It's actually, the Western one was issue 2. That was, I wrote that one. And then Katie Drinkwine, she was the one who illustrated it. And she's working on her second with us. But she's got excruciating detail. So, she produces the books, takes her a little longer.
What kind of audience do you guys try to reach out to? Is it specific? Go for everyone?
Well, I'll speak for myself, and then I'll pass off to the other guys because Gabe and Charlie are on very different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So for me, everything I write's kind of geared towards that audience. I think adults, but also like kids that would like have the comic but like hide it from their parents. That's the sweet spot for us. But
again, corrupting the youth.
Yeah.
Corrupting the youth.
And then I don't know. Go ahead, Charlie.
I'm just a creep that is corrupting the youth, apparently. According to Instagram. But yeah, I like to work more in noir style, I guess. Just like heavy ink and limited color. So I don't know, I guess that appeals to people looking for something a little more like dark and mysterious, I would say. But I don't know, I think I could kind of appeal to anybody.
Also
I do I also do like cartoony comic stuff that's like comedic. I'm doing a series called So I Worked at the Mall, and that's really for anybody. That's not really not dark and mysterious at all. So yeah. So I do everything. I don't know.
When I ran into Charlie at first, her page, and still a lot of it today, is mostly like vampire erotica.
Yeah, he thought I was a gay man.
I was well, there's a lot of dude-on-dude vampire erotica on your page. And
he was like, good for him.
I was like, this Charlie guy's got a lot of chops, but, there's a lot of dude-on-dude stuff on this page, And then just took me by surprise. Never assumed gender by seeing the name Charlie.
I said this to a friend the other day. I was like, I feel like I love men like a gay man loves men. So yeah, I think Mark was just like, then we had like a live like meeting or whatever online, and he was like, oh wow, yeah, that's not who I thought that was.
Then on the other end of the spectrum,
lesser known comics in the first place was all the dude on dude action. I was like, this is the place.
Yeah, that was the pull,
Actually, right when Gabe signed with us, he posted something and he used a GIF, and he meant to have it say best friends. And
did it say boyfriends?
It said boyfriends, and then he like texted me and he was like, "I'm leaving it up though," and I was like, "It's a good fit."
Gabe said gay rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie's artwork was some of the first that was like the first lesser known comics rabbit hole I went down, because I was like, I just love the thick like black lines and like the like, I don't want to say harsh color, like, but the bright,
Yeah, it's like
the
punchy.
dark blacks. Yeah, it's punchy. Yeah, it's like, it was just cool and very noir, and I love Sin City. That's like one of my favorite
get that
books.
a lot. A lot of people are like, this reminds me of Sin City, and I'm like, okay, like I can do that.
But it was cool, and it's like, Sin City's dope. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love it more for the colors than the story. But
Yeah.
like with your stuff, Charlie, I also love fantasy, and I love vampires, and I love like cultic, just mystique and all this stuff. And so like mystery, and this is super nerdy, but like if a door opens down a hallway and it's like down the hallway and you see the long black shadow, like I just love that stuff. So yeah, it was just really cool. Like that really attracted me to lesser known comics right away.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
You know I'm a fan. Come on.
Oh,
I'm a big fan.
yeah, please.
Check them all out, Spidey. Simon,
Yeah,
check them all out, mate. Head
everyone
over
is
there,
really talented, honestly.
follow them all.
Every time Franco posts something, I'm like,
that's why we kind of grew so fast. Was I think the artists that we had started attracting other artists, and I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't planning on starting a comic book company. I was just going to do a comic, and then it kind of got away from me. And the next thing I know, my wife was just like how big is this comic company going to get? And I was like, I've lost complete control of this situation at this point. So, and then, especially now that these guys are creating content that, I'm only just publishing it, at that point,
Well, being like we've had to get into comics at some point in our lives. Just going around the table here, what is your strongest memory of a comic? Like whether it's something you read, a moment in your life when you purchased it. What's your strongest memory of a comic? Of your first comic book?
I remember the first comic I ever made. I was really little. I was probably like 3 or 4. And I remember I didn't know how to spell the word well, like Well. And I had to ask my mom how to spell it. But like I was very determined to have like a good comic, so I had to make sure that spelling was right. But yeah, I've been literally making comics since I was like before kindergarten. So
What about you, Gabrielle?
So my first introduction to comics was also when I was a little kid. My parents are both ex-military, so I grew up in a pretty strict household, and so my uncle, whenever my uncle would come into town, he would always bring comic books, and we would just like lay on the floor, and we'd put a piece of paper on all the comic books, and we just like trace the characters, and then we'd make new word bubbles for them, and we'd like make our own comic books after tracing them.
Oh, that's so cute.
It was so much fun. I wish I had some of those early drawings, but that's really what got me into the comics. And then, when you're a kid, and again, I was also very young, so I didn't, you don't always put things together. But I remember thinking like how come like Uncle Rick has all these comic books, but like, man, I need to find out where he gets all these comic books, and not realizing comic book stores existed and like all of these things. And so I discovered that I found a garage sale that was giving away a bunch of comics, and there was like a bunch of Indiana Jones comic books in there, Superman, and some super like crazy like heavy metal stuff that just totally changed my life. And I got into metal and punk rock, and was reading stuff I probably shouldn't have been reading at that young, but it's okay.
Oh, didn't we all?
Yeah.
How about you, Mark?
I got turned on to X-Men and Spider-Man because of the animated series, and then they used to do a better job where they put comic books in like the grocery store, so the kids would like bug their parents. I remember seeing like an X-Men comic in like, you know, the grocery store and being like, Mom, I need to get this. And then that's what like, you know, they get you there and then you go to the comic book store. But I didn't grow up with a ton of money, like a lot of people, you know, and so now that I'm an adult and comics are, you know, less expensive to me as an adult than they were for me when I was a kid. Like I've been playing catch up, so it's cool. It's like watching deleted scenes from a movie, you know, that you've been a fan of your whole life, you know, because it's all the same characters, but I just never got to get through all the issues of all like, you know, X-Men's always been my favorite, you know. So now I'm getting to like rediscover all these storylines and side plots that I had no clue, you know, really existed.
Mate, you mentioned prices, mate. You would freak out if you lived in Australia how much we pay for a freaking comic book. It is ridiculous. No shit. We pay like the $3.99 cover prices that you pay $3.99 for. We pay about $9.60 Australian,
Oh, no.
Wow.
which is like, I don't know, $6-7 American.
Yeah, that's kind of like manga in America. Like manga in Japan is like a couple of bucks, and then in America, the same volume is like at least $10. So that always sucks.
Well,
I
that's
tripped
why
out when
buy
I went
mine.
to Australia for the first time. I tripped out on how much Corona was. I remember someone telling me to bring Corona to a party, like Corona beer, and I'm like, dude, are you like set me up? I'm not gonna bring Corona to a party. I'm trying to like make a good impression and stuff. And then like, no, seriously, buy like a 24 pack of Corona and you'll be like a god. And I'm like, get the hell out of here, dude. And so sure enough, I forget what your guys' Bevmo is called, but or your like giant liquor stores are called, but I went, it's like a guy's name, I forget what it is.
Dan Murphy's.
Yeah. And so I went there
where I bought my beer from.
I was looking for beer and then it was like Triple X was one of the beers I saw. Was,
that's a Queensland beer. That's a shit beer, but anyway.
Triple X, and then I asked this girl at the market, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm going to like a party. I'm on tour. I really want to make a good impression. What should I bring? She's like, oh, if you want to make a good impression, bring some Corona. And I'm like, what? And then she like showed me where the Corona was, and it was like $56. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's why.
And like, so I brought Corona to the party, and it was a hit. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, this makes no sense to me.
No, it's like we pay so much tax on shit. Like I quit smoking a while ago, but mate, even cigarettes are like $30. Like you could buy.
Oh my god! And I thought like it was bad here. It's like $8 for like a carton, not a carton. I don't know, like one.
And that's the cheap brand. Like if you like, I spoke. You know, I used to smoke the Dunhill brand. You know, a bit fine. They were $40 a packet. Like it's just, it's just. But yeah, the comics I buy from my comic shop online, which is American, I think, place, because they give you you pre-order 2 months in advance. They give you 35% off the price, off the American price, and then me and my mate do it together, so we pay half the shipping together. So it works out, man. Like
not too bad.
It works out to be about
Mark's brain. He's like making notes right now.
Yeah. Give me more information.
Spinning in his head, he's like, interesting.
Yeah, no, mate, $4.80 I now pay Aussie for a book where I was, you know, here, and that's why the comic shops here are starting to struggle, because obviously with everything that happened and people not working, and they're just dying on their art. But we're not like America. We have a lot of we have shit all comic shops here. Like have like 3 or 4.
Do they produce anything there? Because when I was there, I went to.
They do have one. Yeah, there's just a couple of Aussie companies.
You know, Movie World.
Yeah.
WB's Movie World.
Yeah.
I went there and I was blown away at like how much stuff they had going on. So, is there any reason why they don't produce, like they just don't take the digital files and then produce like the Australian versions of the comics there? And instead of having to like ship them
way back in the day, like when they were, you know, in the I think 80s and 90s, there used to be Australian print versions. So when you buy like, Yeah, so there was Australian print versions that were printed here, but now I just think it just costs too much to print here, so
Mm.
they just don't do it. Like my local comic shop, like I was going there for 10 years, 11 years, every Saturday, every week for 10 years, 11 years straight. Then when I got introduced to this, I felt sorry, but I understand that, we've got the shipping costs because it gets flown over, from where you guys are, and then they've got the staff handling to get it out on the shelf, to pay the workers. Like I understand it. Like I used to work in retail myself, so I understand there's cost behind it. But it's just, I used to buy 2-3 books a week, where now I'm buying like 10 books a week. Like it's just insane. And I'm starting to get into digital because I got Marvel Unlimited, and I'm starting to read a lot of Marvel because I've always, if you see behind me, I'm more of a DC. I was a DC fanboy, but I'm starting to jump off DC at the moment. I'm not happy with them, but I'm leaning. I got Marvel Unlimited, so I'm starting to get introduced to the digital world, but I still like to have that fresh copy. So I told Mark, if you guys want to, mate, I'm happy. I've got plenty of room in my apartment here. I'll publish them down here. I'll send them out for you. Send them all here. I'll send them out.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've been working on is we've just I've been blown away by how supportive the indie scene is. Like just you meet people at a convention and they're just like everyone's just so welcoming. The amount of people I just send like dumb questions to, like hey, like the printer asked me this question and I don't even know what the words in the sentences meant, so like, can you walk me through it? But then also everybody worldwide, I was surprised that we had orders going out to Germany, orders going out to Australia, orders going out to, all sorts of places. And yeah, we're trying to figure out those ways to make it so that we can ship from those locations, and especially at this beginning stage, like a lot of it's, exactly what, you just kind of alluded to. Like we got some buddies making comics out in Germany, and they're just going to have a big stack of lesser known comics, and we're going to have a big stack of their comics, and we'll send out the ones going to America, and they'll send out the ones going to Germany. And there's just a ton of stuff like that. And there may be smarter and more efficient ways to do it, but you don't make the friends, and you don't get to have as much fun doing it a different way.
That's my girlfriend. Yeah, I'm home.
Hi, Danielle.
Hello.
I was just telling Mark we're planning a trip to this year at some point to go to Colombia because she's originally from Colombia.
Nice.
So planning on a trip at some point this year, head down to her hometown. So I've shown her all of Australia, and now she can go show me Colombia. And I want to stop at. I've always when I was young, there wasn't. Like I was with my dad, it was for work, but I want to go to America because the Comic Cons there. Our Comic Cons are so shit down here. They're all right, but they're not compared to what you guys have. Like your smallest convention over there is probably better than our big conventions that we have here. So
yeah, America goes hard on conventions, definitely.
Yeah, I was not prepared. We did our first one with Gabe, who's done a bunch of them before he came on to lesser known, and it was like drinking out of a fire hose. It was pretty insane. And
I forgot to tell you, I looked up the exact number.
Okay.
Of what?
I looked up the exact number of cons because we were talking about it the whole weekend, like how many cons I've done, and the exact number, give or take like one or two, is 87.
Holy crap. That's a lot. There's a lot that goes on though here. Like I was looking up cons just in like I'm in Maryland. I'm from like the Baltimore area, outer Baltimore area. And just in Maryland, which is a small state by the way, it has so many conventions for comic books, for like other, nerd stuff. But yeah, there's like always something going on.
Yeah.
You guys all set up? Do you set up like stalls at the I've seen you guys done at was it LA? I seen on Instagram. Was it set up?
Yeah, so we're putting together our calendar for the rest of 2022. And the nice part is that we're spread all over the country. The nice part about LA is, a lot of us met in person for the first time. So I hadn't met Gabe before. I hadn't met Jackie in person. I hadn't met Andrea in person. And we were just like all in the same room, staying at the same hotel, like, just being like, all right, and those guys just like hit it off. We had such a good time. So I can't wait to do that in different parts of the country, because like, me and Charlie met in person, but Charlie hasn't met, Gabe and, more than half the other teams.
Yeah, I haven't met the West Coasters. So
It's coming. It's coming.
yeah, eventually.
Dude, what's the I know we're here in Melbourne. We when it comes to this whole COVID shit, we've just been locked up and we have very restrictions on crowds. What's the deal up over there? Do you guys have restrictions on limits of how many people can go into cons? Because we just had our Oz Comic Con about 2-3 weeks ago, and they had full restriction numbers. Like there'd be a certain amount of people. Obviously, even have to have their vaccine, but is that the same over there?
It kind of depends. Because I was like looking into it, but like a lot of places you have to have proof of like vaccination and a mask, I think. But I don't know how many places are like limiting the number of people. But Mark will probably know more than me.
Well, it also depends like state by state. So like America's crazy in the fact that you have the president, but like there's 50 states. So there's like 50 governors who can be like, yeah, F off, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then within those states, mayors and county officials have a lot of sway. So even within those, the county officials or the mayors will be like, yeah, F off, I'm not doing that. So everyone's kind of doing their own thing.
You also have private businesses that, can be stricter than the government,
Yeah.
or not, or like, maybe they don't even enforce it really. So then it's just like, it's very weird. You just never know what's going on, basically.
Yeah. Except for everyone's really tense about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension. That's the only thing that is certain.
No, well, at least you guys are still getting to it. Like I said, our Oz Comic Con there's just been no international guests at all.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, but homegrown, like I love homegrown. I'll always go to the artists, like all indie people, and grab some comics there from the Australian indie companies. Because like you're saying, like indies are getting more noticed now. I think just because I feel that they're more pure, like they're more genuine. Like,
yeah,
I think big
it's
time
like fresh
writers
blood.
Sell out. Yeah, it's fresh
in this
stories.
like stale industry, I guess.
Yeah, you have to write this, you have to write that. It's just have your freedom to speak, like, and write what you want to write.
Sure, or like do something weird artistically, like even if it's not like as much about the writing, just doing something that's like really fresh and different visually. I think is people just want something new. It's a new age, I guess.
100%.
Yeah, well, I'm picking up heaps more indies now than I ever have, because we don't, again, when it comes to our comic shops, it's like probably 40%, or at the moment it's probably 50% DC, 40% Marvel, and then 10% will be indies. Like, it's not really much on the shelf here, which
So
and
like,
when it's indies, it's just Image, IDW, and Dark Horse, pretty much. Unless you go into the city, where you go to the big comic shop in the city, you'll get everything.
Yeah.
They'll have everything, but all your local comic shops here in the suburbs, which there's only pretty much one in each suburb, very minimal of the indies. So that's why now, with buying it from my comic shop, I'm getting hard into more indies. Just enjoy them a lot more. Who are some of your favorite artists and writers? Obviously, being artists and writers, you've got to have
some
people that you
inspiration.
admire and inspired by.
Yeah. I would probably say my top two are Mike Mignola and Jamie Hewlett. I just really think, well, I know for Mignola, I really love his like abstraction. I think his style is just really elegant. It's really effective use of like not a crazy line work. It's just like a lot. It's like heavy black again that I obviously like to do in my own work. And I always love the color palettes. Like in Hellboy, I think the palettes are always so nice. Like they just look so nice, and they're kind of like simple and clean, and I really like that. And then Jamie Hewlett's kind of like the opposite. I like how cluttered and like crazy some of his stuff is. It's very like funky. And I think for him, I really love how I want to say the word like signature. Like I take one look at his work and I immediately know who it is. And he has just has a way with line work. I don't know. I just really like his work.
Nice.
What about you, Gabe or Mark? Who wants to go first?
I think for me, probably Becky Cloonan for like an artist. I think Becky Cloonan's just, yeah, she's out of control. She's so sick, and she just does a lot of these clean.
Oh, word, yeah. Tank Girl takes place in Australia, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love Becky Cloonan, and like she does a lot of Viking and like medieval stuff. And then her blood, like the blood in her books is always so sweet. It's like dripping everywhere, but it doesn't look chaotic. It looks beautiful, and it's really cool. And then I think for writing, I would say probably like Robert E. Howard, like the Conan the Barbarian stuff, or Solomon Kane as well. And then also like
yeah, Solomon Kane is cool.
Solomon Kane's so sick. So probably it's like a cross between C.S. Lewis and Robert E. Howard. Just those guys, the way their minds worked when it came to fantasy and transporting people to other worlds was just, I've just never read anything like it. And the imagination, and it wasn't like you're just going to a fantasy world and there happens to be swords and dragons and magic. It's like you're going to another world, and it's gonna blow your mind. There's like pools that lead to other worlds, and it just, that stretch of the imagination just kept going no matter how far down the rabbit hole you went. It was like, and then this happens now. So yeah, I would, if Becky Cloonan and Robert E. Howard could come back from the dead and make a book, that would be amazing.
So my frame of reference right now has been all skewed because, as I told you, it went, so like the first things I ever saw on the shelf was like, Jim Lee's, when he was doing X-Men. And so like, to me, that was like, that's what a comic book should look like, right? Like more pouches, more muscles, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, but I'm rereading X-Men in chronological order. So now I'm just like in this, like going all the way back, so I'm everything, the day-to-day is always right now that if it's not indie, I'm reading really old, like Marvel. But the nice part too is like the amount of indie artists that like I'm becoming like the ones that like I'm like trying to get to come over to lesser known comics, so like I think I creep out some of them too, like I like comment on all their things. So but and what was great was at LA Comic Con we got to meet a couple of them, so like names you probably never heard of, but like Dave Law and Josh Kemble and Chris Kawagawa, like those guys, like, so I'm obsessing with them over them on Instagram, and then I'm like, oh, I get to see you in person, and I can definitely creep out a stranger in person over their art very easily.
It's okay, artists like that. It's fine.
Well, I was saying, Gabe, you were giving a thumbs up when I said I was a bit of a DC fanboy.
Oh, dude, you have no idea.
Question, being that I'm Aussie, how do you think our boy's going, Tommy Taylor, there, mate? Hey?
Say that one more time.
How do you think Tom Taylor's going over there, our Aussie boy?
Oh,
you liking the stuff he's producing?
Yeah, dude. I
he lives a couple street, like literally the suburb down for me. But anyway, continue.
No way. That's crazy. Yeah, like I have a interesting relationship with Australia. The record label I'm signed to is Australian.
What's the label called?
One of my best friends, Noise Cartel Records. They're based out of Brisbane.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of communication with them. My old distribution company, who I'm still really good friends with, is Australian Zelon Entertainment. My best friend's brother-in-law is Australian. So I don't know. I'm always rooting for the Aussies, man. Yeah, but no, I love.
You're an adopted
I like
Aussie.
the stuff DC's been producing a lot lately. It kind of reminds me of the golden age of DC Comics. Like they went back to, again, that it's that fantasy, right? Like I feel like comic books, and no offense to Christopher Nolan or anything, but I think he had something to do with this. But I love the Batman movies, the first two that he did, and but I feel like during that time period, comic book movies got really serious, and then comic books as well. It was like, oh, people want to see Superman, but in this super serious setting, and it's like, I mean, maybe if the story's good, why not? There's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like comic books they kind of lost, not across the board, but a lot of comic books lost the blowing your mind aspect. It became more about just telling a real story, and like I feel like now what DC is doing is so cool because they're getting back to that just amazing fantasy, otherworldly storytelling where anything can happen. Like what they did with Doomsday Clock, that just was totally mind blowing with Dr. Manhattan and connecting all those worlds. And I'm like, dude, yes, like I don't read comic books because I want to read about what my neighbor's doing, and you know, like I read comic books because I want my mind to be blown, and I can't put it down. And so, and for those of you who do like that stuff, I like that stuff too sometimes. I'm not saying that that's bad or anything. I'm not trying to, crap on anyone's passions. That's not all I'm saying. It's just I think you don't have to do that with everything. And so I like a good, down to earth story, but I'm really stoked with where DC's headed right now with all the stuff they're bringing back. And so you can't ask me questions like that, man. I'm going to nerd out. I'm just going to keep talking forever. So.
Yeah, that's the point. You're supposed to nerd out.
Point.
So think about
Deathstroke first appearance there, mate. I'm a big Deathstroke fan, so
that's awesome.
Nice.
Big Deathstroke fan.
So
what were you going to say, Mark? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that the trivia, the data in Gabe's head is insane, and I kind of understood like a glimpse of why when we were at LA Comic-Con. So once again, first time meeting him, and the second we get in the hotel room, cartoons go on from the second there's a TV near him, there's cartoons on. He falls asleep with cartoons on. Wakes up to cartoons on. Like it's just like,
Constant.
Yeah, just like
dreams.
Stream it directly to my brain. We go to LA Comic-Con, like at the actual, the floor. Out of 100 cosplay, he knew 99 of them. Right? He just knew the most obscure stuff.
That was his pop culture.
He brought up all nonchalant. Oh yeah, like my record label. Well, that I'm on. He's also, as that stuff's coming in, like he's also producing a bunch of stuff. So like, I knew he had the music. I didn't know he had all these like little animated like shorts that he made for like all these like songs and things like that. And then we're unloading the van, and he's got this big box, and I was like, I would never have guessed in a million years when we opened this box, he's got puppets, like not small puppets, like quarter to a third of a human size puppets. And I was like, what are these for? And he's like, it's for the puppet show that goes along with my comic. And I was like,
obviously.
Of course. Why wouldn't you?
So you have a puppet show that you perform as well, do you, for the comic?
Say that one more time.
Do you have you do a puppet show for your comic, do you?
So yes and no. So yes, there was a puppet show, or is hopefully still going to be a puppet show, which is why I got these puppets made. And the short version is the agency I was with, they put up a lot of roadblocks for me, and it ended up not happening. There was it was supposed to be tied into a Nickelodeon thing. Nickelodeon they were a part of Nickelodeon, and they were going to do this smaller thing, and then they introduced me to some people there, and everyone liked the idea. And then I was going to have these puppets that illustrated like what happens in the story, and then there's going to be these side stories, and then we're going to play songs in between, the stories and all that stuff, and it's going to be fun. And then the books would eventually come out, and then it just didn't happen. But I still have the puppets, so it's hopefully going to be happening soon. But that's a story for another time.
Well, just going around again the table here. What's the most memorable response that you've had regarding a piece of work that you've done? Something feedback that was just great. Going around the table there. Is there anything that stands out, like your first person walking up and saying, "Hey, can you sign your art piece?" or sign your...
Yeah. So I think the first time I ever made money off of my art, I had this teacher. He was really cool. Kind of like a serious, like stoic man. But he was like, "Hey, I run a photography business on the side, and I need like some illustrations for the website." And I was like, "Okay." But I was a child. Like I was in like high school, like, and so he's like commissioning me to do this artwork, and I don't know if it's like appropriate for a teacher to be giving a student money, but he just like, we had this like shady deal where I like handed him the art, and he hands me the money like around his back or whatever. It was really funny. But yeah, so that was the first time I ever like actually made money off of my art, and that I was like, this is awesome.
I think for me, I think for me, I am a kid at heart, and so I forget often that maybe a grown-ass person doesn't want to read about a magical lizard wizard fighting evil sentient robot. Like maybe that's something that grown-ups don't want to read. That never occurred to me, because I'm just like, this is freaking awesome, and I'm gonna write this story because no one else is doing it. And so my favorite moments are usually with kids, with children, because they don't have those walls. They're not beaten down by the real world yet, and so, but the first moment that comes to mind was I gave an early copy before the book was in stores. I gave an early copy to a friend of mine, and I had never met his wife or kid. We just kind of knew each other from the local San Diego like restaurant and bar scene. And he sends me this video and I still have it, and it makes me like tear up every time I see it. He sends me this video. His kid, I'm guessing like 8, 9, 10. I'm really bad at guessing ages. Had made his own Digital Lizards of Doom comic book, and then he was like, he had made it, and then he took his action figures and had taped like paper armor to them so it would match the colors of the character in the book. And he was like, "This is Dizzy," and like the whole video of him was like explaining his D-Lod comic, and then like all of his action figures are like, "This is Klugus and this is Commander Echo," and I'm just like, no way, like how is this? And kids just get it. And that was just, he didn't care. He was just like, of course this makes sense. And then there's a cyborg cat pirate, and there's a goblin, and they're going to this planet that's shaped like a donut in a coffee cup. Like they don't care. Like they don't care how weird it is. And so that, I think when I got that video, I was like, okay, maybe
this is it.
Yeah, maybe I'm doing something right.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of like when me and Mark started working together. The thing is, I always thought I was funny, but having like a publisher be like, "Yeah, you're funny. Like we want to publish this book, and like we want more." I was just like, "All right, that's just like a very satisfying feeling."
Yeah, that was, you kind of, she gave me a zine, she sent me the digital copy, and she was like, "Oh, is this any good?" And I was like, this is the best thing I've
You're like,
I've looked at this year.
This is the brand. Like this is like exactly on brand. And I was like, oh, all right, awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's weird. I think there's I played music when I was younger. So we did pretty good. So, you know, like I was used to playing a show and people like knew the songs and would come and like pay money to come do that. But that was 17, 18, 19-year-old me. And then I spent, you know, 17, 18 years in the Army. And then like, you know, they tell you quite often there, like, you're not special. Like no one really, you know, like
I was in a band, damn it.
I was special. Yeah.
And so coming back out, it was like, it took a while, like, because people was like, oh, can you sign this? And I was like, why? You know, and then, you know, just like little things, I have it, you know, handy here. These guys that make a comic, Roz and the Big Man, they did a sketch cover for these. This is one of ours. So they did a sketch cover. And I was just like, oh, like, so, you know, somebody who like makes real comic books, because I feel like a poser. I feel like a total fraud. Like liked our stuff enough to do like fan art of it. You know, I was like, it still like has a lot of novelty when I'm like, wait, you think I'm one of you? That's
oh my gosh, that's like when Kayla did like her alternate cover of my comic, and I was like, oh my god, fan art. Like I don't know, I just love it. It's so exciting.
People don't realize, you know, that how much it means when someone appreciates your work. The smallest thing, like, you know, people freak out like what, like, oh, of course I like this thing. And I'm like, dude, that's all I'm gonna be thinking about for the next week is that.
Dude, I know, yeah.
And you know, I feel like when we're putting our heart and our souls and our memories and our experiences and our wants, our needs, our dreams, our goal, like everything into these books, and we all day there's just rejection and no's and you can't have this, you're not good enough, and that's all you hear. You have sometimes you even have your friends telling you that, or your family,
or just silence too. Like,
or just
like,
silence.
This is not getting any attention, and it really sucks. Yeah.
And so to have someone be like message you and be like, hey, like, I just read your book, or I love that painting you just did, or that drawing, that is like the best thing ever. Ever.
It is hard putting, because you guys are both talking about music. I used to do a bit of music back in my little days as well. I used to write songwriter, but never really like. I worked for a little indie label here in Melbourne, and I never really like, you know, I write it, but I didn't want people. I want to be the one that, you know what I mean? Like,
you want
I just
me to star.
Yeah, I just felt like they're not going to put the emotion into the story like I would. I did try a little bit of a rap career, but yeah.
It's funny how Mark was talking about the music thing, because and how he like felt like an imposter, which I think it's just, you never know what someone else is going through, right? Like, you never know someone else's story. Because like when I met Mark, I was like, dude, this guy has it all together. He has the universe figured out.
He has it figured out.
Like, I've called you a genius, dude, to probably like 99% of like my like local circle. And we're talking one day, and he goes, dude, I used to play music too. Check out my band. He sends me the Spotify link, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is where he's gonna fumble. Like, his music's
no,
gonna
but then
suck.
it's actually good.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, this guy's like the Justin Timberlake of comic books. He's just like good at everything. Like, I hate this guy, but I love him at the same time. And then he sends me his song, and then he only sent me a song. He didn't send me the full album. He's like, oh, check out this song. So he sends me a song, and I listen to it, and I'm like, okay, this song is pretty rad. That's why he sent me this song. The rest of the album was suck.
Oh yeah, that was a fluke.
And then I listened to the rest of the album. I'm like, bro, this is so sick. I've been listening to this for like 2 weeks. It's so good.
Yeah, I remember Mark sent me a video of him like really young, super young, like baby Mark. It was like a music video, and I was like, why is this fire? Like, I was like, dang, you were really good.
You gotta,
Oh,
yeah,
you got to send it to me now, mate. You're gonna have to.
yeah.
I
send it
guess
to
you have to launch a music career now.
Yeah.
So
No, my wife.
No, I did. I used to like. I done a song with a girl from Australian Idol or American Idol, whatever
Mhm.
you call it. We obviously call Australian Idol. She came like third or fourth in it. I did a track with her, and but my mate started an independent record label, and because he had the best studio, and I just was writing, and I thought I'll start. I've always got drunk with mates, bust freestyles, just do all that kind of stuff, and then
as one does.
I, then I made a song, and people, but it's just like I was told, you should look into it, but it's
no,
more of
wait,
a
wait.
hobby, not a. It was more of a hobby than it was, it's just I used to like to write songs because it was like my personal diary kind of thing, like, but I would let people read it kind of thing. So I was heavily influenced by Tupac growing up, so very heavily
Oh
influenced.
yeah,
Lesser known records, dude.
it could happen one of these days. Unfortunately, I would definitely not be the star of that show. I can write a song, but I cannot perform it.
Well, it's just like writing stories. So, but obviously, like you get people criticizing your work in that. What about yourselves? How hard are you on your work? Like I've got a mate that's really good artist, and he just keeps trying. Like he's ready. I think that he's ready, but he's in his head, keeps getting lessons, keeps learning more and more and more. He doesn't feel that he's ready yet.
A lot of people feel like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's it like with you guys? Like, do you sometimes work on a project longer than you should? Do you, just you criticize yourself very harshly? Do you
I
get,
think
acknowledge from people first before you do it, or what's the go?
Yeah, I think for me, I've learned to be good at knowing when to put something down, like they're not all going to be winners, but even if you can, it's better to have like 100 projects that are like maybe 80% good than waste your time sitting around only working on one thing that takes like 100 years. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to have like content. So it's okay if it's not the Mona Lisa, the masterpiece. Like I've gotten better. I think especially like throughout college, learning when to just kind of like call it done, move on to the next thing. And I think in this industry too, like when you're doing sequential art and like narrative media, whatever, you are drawing a lot. Like you have to be able to like get it done and move on to the next thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that's something I generally struggle with, but I think when I criticize myself, it's like, how do other people see this? And I do definitely ask for like other people's opinion, just because it's for other people and they're gonna see stuff that like I'm not seeing. I've been staring at this for hours. Like, if I was gonna see it, I would have seen it by now. So, having a fresh set of eyes, I do think definitely helps. But yeah.
What about you two fellas? You use hard on your work?
You go first.
Go for it, Mark.
So yeah, I think sometimes. So the advice I got was to start small, and that's why we ended up with all these mini comics, because I was told make a 5-page comic, then make a 6-page comic, then make a 7-page comic. Just keep doing that, because I think there's something about finishing something to know what you're good at and because some of the things that I hated about like my first comic is now I'm like, oh wow, I actually did that pretty well. And then some of the things I liked about that first comic, I'm like, oh yeah, that's where. So I think you kind of have to finish some stuff. You got to get it out there to find out where you stand. The other part, I don't want to mischaracterize my wife when I say this, because any woman who in the middle of a pandemic, when she's like, oh, you're starting a comic book company, huh? At the ripe age of 37. I'm pregnant. We got a toddler. Seems like a good time to start So her level of support is like through the roof. Any woman who doesn't, just like, throw you out. But she told me this story that she had an ex that wrote a play, and she was like, my wife's incapable of lying. So she's like, my ex, he wrote this play. It was awful. And I had to break it off. And she's like,
it was that bad?
She's
she
like,
said, this play made me dump you.
She said, I really like you. We got these kids together. I don't want to have to leave you. Please make good comics, And it's a pretty good motivator for me.
Oh my God. I love your wife.
She's terrifying, but I love her. Yeah, I feel like you have to be a little scared to be in love, So.
Yeah. It spices things up.
I'm scared to go to Medellin, Colombia for meeting her family and all that. So
you'll be fine.
Too much Narcos and watching bloody American movies too much to make me scared to go to there, mate.
I forgot that your girlfriend's name is Danny, the same as the main character. In a lot of my
funny.
books. And,
I brought that up when I first read. I was like, gee, I'm not going to forget this main character. It's bloody named after my girlfriend.
And then LKC number 3 and then LKC number 9 take place in Mendoza, Argentina, which is not too far from Colombia there. Because we like we have Franco's from South America. So instead of picking, towns that I wanted to do or parts of the world that we wanted to do, we were just like, oh, let's just place this story in South America. Then he doesn't have to do reference research. He just starts, doing places around where he lives.
Yeah, it's good to get references from you. I like when Tom Taylor puts in the books Australia, like there was a flash where he ran along the Nullarbor, which is, it's a road here in Australia that's 300 kilometers just dead straight. And it's really wide because the planes emergency fly. They need to emergency land there. So it's good to see when Tom Taylor, obviously having an Aussie up there doing a lot of books, it's good to see that we get a lot of recognition of places in our country. So
yeah, that's
good
cool.
like that. Well, what about you, Gabe? How hard are you on your work?
Dude, I have pretty gnarly imposter syndrome, so it gets a bit rough. I bring it on myself. It's just how I am. But I think I'm trying to change my mind frame a little bit, or not a little bit. I'm like aggressively trying to change my mind frame. But I definitely want to make cool stuff, and I get caught up in my head a lot, and I like weird stuff. So not everyone I talk to or run things by, they're like, I don't know, man, like a planet called Kraglodon, you should have it on Earth. Like it doesn't, people aren't going to be able to relate to it. You should make the planet Earth, or you should make the planet Mars or something people
Who are you talking to? These people are boring.
Well, I mean, and I'm getting better at figuring out when somebody knows.
Like, are you in my audience or not? Because listen, like people, they're like, I'm not into vampire movies. I'm not into horror movies. I don't talk to those people.
True.
They're not gonna like my stuff,
Yeah, and
so make sure they're in your audience.
I'm getting better at learning my audience. Mark and I have had a lot of conversations about that. And I realized I was marketing to the wrong people for a while with my music. And then again, not to bring up the whole kid thing, but when I realized this book was for kids, because it was always family friendly, because I just felt like there wasn't enough, all the family friendly stuff that I've watched, a lot of it is not that weird. It's not that deep. And so for me, I was like, you can make deep, weird stuff that's for kids and that you can watch with your kids. And a lot of my friends that have kids, they're watching these shows and oh my gosh, it's so boring. I don't care, but my kids are obsessed with it. And I'm like, dude, I got to make some weird stuff that's family oriented. But now the deeper I go, I'm like, oh, kids they love this. This is awesome. So I'm getting better at that. But yeah, I'm pretty bad. I'm like, oh man, this sucks. So
I'm about to turn on another light, y'all. I'm so sorry.
Don't burn yourself. You're vampire.
No. Let's turn this one on.
I got one more
Yeah.
question. I'm sure you guys have things that you might want to do. I'm happy to keep going, but I got one question for you. So, what would your dream project be? Like,
Well,
what is something you would love to draw or love to write? If a genie said you got one wish to create something, what would it be?
well, I'm kind of started working on it. Like my dream project is a story called Scorned. It's something I've been writing for a really long time. I don't have as much written as I wish I did, but I have to find the willpower to really make it happen. But yeah, and guess what it's about? It's about vampires. So
No,
but yeah.
Talking about vampires, I just put on because I'm just exploring indies. In March, Jeff Lemire's bringing out one, Little Children. It's about kid vampires.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I don't know what it's called. It's new. It's coming out in March, but yeah, it's gonna be my first vampire kind of book.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm trying to make that dream come true. I think it's funny though, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, do you want to do a Batman one day?" And I'm like, "No, I just don't have the desire to do that." I think I'm kind of already working on projects that are my dream projects, so that's good.
Charlie's my freaking hero, dude.
Oh.
She feels like she's such a badass.
I try.
No, that's good that you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't have to be a big time hero. If there's something that you've got planned, and that's it. That's really good to hear. How about one of you guys? Do you have a project that you dream working on, or characters that you would love to do?
I think for me, I would love to write an adult space fantasy adventure, and I would like to write it with Zack Snyder and have him also make a movie out of it. That would blow my mind.
I will say
next question.
That is a dream, is getting a movie or a show. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
I think, and this is nothing against anybody else on the team, because our creators are insanely good. The best part about our team is that you can't. There's no top or bottom who's who's the most talented or who.
I'm definitely a bottom.
We get along so well. But I think in terms of likelihood of a TV show adaptation, I know Gabe's got some stuff. I don't know if we can talk about it in the works, but Charlie as well. I can totally see. So I worked at the mall going on a Netflix, series or something like that.
I really wanted to pitch it to Adult Swim, actually. I think it would fit in. Everyone I've told that to, they're like, "Oh yeah, it literally looks like an Adult Swim cartoon." So yeah, I think that could be really cool. That's the dream.
Yeah, I think it'll, once one goes, to kind of all go, because Soren, his stuff is primed for TV, and then we also picked up a guy. The comic is called Tank McGregor, and the person who commented earlier, the amount of people who are out there just sitting on these amazing comics.
Yeah,
right?
Good ideas.
Because he had 80 followers or something like that on social media, and I was like, this thing's so good. And he's like,
it is. Yeah, he messaged me and was like, "Hey, is Lesser Known Comics legit?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, but his comic is so good. I was really surprised he didn't have more of a following, but I guess that's how you build the following, is connecting with people like us. So yeah,
and great art won't stay hidden forever.
Yeah.
So that's to me, I do like my stories, I do like the things, but honestly, I wouldn't mind handing them off to other people, right? Charlie is a more than competent, writer and illustrator. The stuff that we work on together, I could just be like, "Here, Charlie, you get where I'm going with the story. You got it.
You
now,
got
right?"
it.
Because there's just so many other things that I got to tell them the two that we're never going to get around to. So to me, I want to create more time to create more stuff, because me and Charlie were like on like Instagram all day, just like texting the most absurd plot lines.
Oh yeah, like the taco truck, the spectral taco truck, and we were like, oh, are we gonna like actually do that, or is that just something we're like talking about?
I forgot about that. I was gonna bring up both the Escape from Your Mom's Basement.
That
about
too.
So the guy, like Weird Science, brings his anime pillow to life.
Right, but she like hates his guts.
Yeah, she's horrified at her existence and has to like figure out how to escape from his mom's basement, because that's where he lives, obviously. Who knows, we'll ever get to that comic. I want to make that comic so bad,
Yeah.
I think Kevin Smith helped in making that film.
Yeah.
Escaping from the basement.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to like pick the cast for that. I don't know who would make a good anime pillow come to life.
We need a hot girl, and she will be our anime girl. We can find plenty of those.
Yeah, I've just started getting into anime. It's like a rabbit hole I don't want to fall down, because I see how hard with comics, and my mates like, try anime, and I'm like, I don't want to fall.
Oh yeah, Food Wars is great.
Food Wars
my gosh,
is
it's so funny.
Amazing. So good.
Food Wars?
Food
It's
Wars,
not what you expect. It's like
It's not at all.
It is not at all. Yeah, it's great. It's really funny.
No,
It's a good laugh.
Well, Charlie,
It's not family friendly though, I would say.
Charlie got me into manga on the Sneak Attack because her book looks like a punk scene, but panel by panel, it uses a lot of like manga, like big zoom outs, big facial changes, a lot of like.
Oh, and also like the inner self, like I totally stole that from Naruto. Like, Sakura's like on the outside everything looks fine, and then like her dark inner self is like, haha, like, or whatever. It's I definitely stole that from Naruto.
So I didn't know I liked manga until I read Charlie, so I worked at the mall, and then she was like, oh, and then she just made me like a list of everything I needed to start like catching up on.
Oh yeah, Devilman Crybaby.
Oh, have you watched the Devil May Cry anime?
Yeah, I didn't watch the old one, but I've seen the new one, the Netflix one.
Oh, it's so good.
The music, the animation, like everything.
So Vampire Hunter D comic as well.
Yeah, I love Vampire Hunter D.
Vampire Hunter D is like
the
my
original
favorite.
and Bloodlust.
Yeah,
that's
like
so
one of my favorite animes of all time.
Sorry, we're just
I can
geeking
watch
out.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you two talking about?
I said that Jeff Lemire one's going to be the first vampire book. My mate jumped on that DC one because DC's done a vampire miniseries. And then there was another one I was going to jump on that was called Vampire 1973 or something like that. But nah, I got to admit that I did watch Twilight. I don't know if that's
Oh yeah, I mean, like, listen, I actually just forced my roommate to watch all of the Twilight movies with me. They're bad, but I was like, you have to watch them in order to make fun of them more fully and accurately. So,
I see it as it's good that they happen, because when Patterson comes out and kills the role as Batman,
dude, I know. Oh my god, he I think is a
it.
Great choice for Batman. Yeah. He's sad enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think everyone keeps judging him on Twilight, so when they go and watch this film, they're going to get
He did Twilight for money. Like, leave him alone. It's a job. Let Rob live.
I can't wait for that.
And he's perfect for Batman too, because he has the Batman. Bruce Wayne has to have that thing like he's lying to you, but he's so charming, but like he's a little messed up. Like there's something going on that there's.
Oh yeah, and like
at any second.
Robert Pattinson is like legitimately a little bit unhinged, like in real life.
Exactly.
He went on a date with his stalker. He had a stalker, and he was so like just, I guess, bored or depressed that he literally was like, "Hey, like, do you want to go out to dinner?" And and she got sick of him on the date and left him alone
That's
after.
amazing.
Well, I don't know if they're
Wow.
legit. The rumors, I don't know if they're legit, but they say that him and Kravitz have really good chemistry because they were making love while they were doing this
I
film.
mean, she's like smoking hot. Like, how do you
Oh,
not
she's-
have
she's gonna be the
chemistry with
best.
her? Like,
I can't wait
okay.
to see her as Catwoman. I
Yeah, she's gonna be
cannot wait to
great.
see her as Catwoman. She's gonna be so good. It's the
Yeah.
only film I'm not looking forward to Flashpoint, so I don't know if you're looking forward to that, Gabe, but I'm not looking forward to Flashpoint. Flash is like
I'm
my
gonna-
favorite superhero, and I'm worried it's gonna get completely butchered.
I have two people that are working on that. I know two people that are working on that movie, and
Okay, well, come on, fill us in, spill the gossip. Give me
I can't say anything. I'm
Give me
not.
something.
I can't say anything.
Give me something.
I'm reserving. I'm reserving judgment. I'm gonna see it. They're gonna get my $15 or whatever. But
Yeah, the same here.
I'm not. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. No, so.
Well, we got to do a at the last Comic Con. They had a video conference with Zack Snyder, and it was when Army of Dead come out. So
Yeah.
he was promoting that film. And then at the Q&A, I felt sorry for the bloke because his whole thing was about this movie, but the whole Q&A, not one person asked about anything except Snyder Cut and Batman and Superman and the poor bloke.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller is too quick for Barry Allen.
Quirky. Too quirky, yeah.
Quirky. I haven't got my glasses on. Yeah, see, I don't like him as flat. I hope they just kill him off and bring in Wally West. That's my personal opinion, but I don't like him as Barry Allen. I'm sorry, but I just don't.
Yeah, he's kind of like an odd choice, I feel like. I don't know.
I just want to see my boy Deathstroke on the big screen. I was
Yeah,
so
dude.
excited.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I was so excited seeing when they at the end of the Justice League film. I was like, yes. And then when they had the rumors
movie
that
was
Ben
amazing.
Affleck was going to make a film, that would have been so good. But
Amazing, dude.
it's
That
Warner
movie-
Brothers, mate. They just don't know what the hell they're doing there.
Oh
at the
man,
moment.
off the record, Matt, we got to talk sometime. Like, so I have a.
You don't talk to me
have
because
a weird-
I'm very passionate with Warner Brothers, DC, very passionate, and I'm one of those. I'm about to fucking just stop buying everything and watching anything. I'm one of those, hater. I don't hate what they're doing in the comics, but the films, I
Yeah.
fucking have to.
Yeah,
don't know.
Walter Hamada. I can't go down that road. Like, but yeah, Walter Hamada. I can't do it. But yeah, we should talk sometime, man. We might be able to help each other through some therapy sessions.
Might have to. Well, on that, we'll might have to, and I'm sure you guys got things to do. But please go around. We'll start with you, Mark. Give a plug of everywhere that we can find you, your work, your comics.
Yeah, so best place to stay updated, Instagram at Lesser Known Comics, lesserknowncomics.com. Get some free comics. And then there's a ton of stuff on there that's for order. There's a ton of more stuff that's coming out for order. And then 2022 is going to be a big year for us. Actually, Gabe and I were on the phone this afternoon, and I was showing him the timeline. We have more comics to release than weeks and months of the year to make it happen. So I thought putting out 14 comics in 2021 was kind of insane. And we'll probably double that
Thank
at
you,
least
Steve.
next year. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve, go. He's another fellow Melburnian. Go and jump on the website and read all the freebies. Buy them if you want, because I promise you now they're good. I promise you. I don't recommend stuff. I'm legit. If it's shit, I wouldn't have him on the show. I wouldn't have organized this, but it's good. They need to be seen. They need to be noticed. But yeah, sorry, continue, Mark.
Oh, no. Yeah. So we got just, a ton of stuff. So, check in regularly to lesserknowncomics.com. And then, Instagram, you'll see the ads for everything that's coming out in 2022.
Charlie, you want to give your Instagram a plug
Yeah.
that's probably going to get taken down soon because you picked
Yeah,
it.
you know, if it's still there, you know, my Instagram is at Charlie Ragnarok. You can see it's spelled like in the corner here, Ragnarok. Yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram. I do live videos now on Instagram, so that's fun and exciting if you want to like chat with me. Yeah, that's probably the main place to reach me. Yeah, is Instagram.
And can people buy your artwork, or do you just do?
Yeah, so I have currently some stuff through lesser known comics on the website that you can buy. And I have commissions open right now, but other than that, I mean, yeah, that's like pretty much it right now.
You have your Patreon for
Oh my gosh.
adult subscribers.
How could I have forgotten? Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, I like just started it. I just started Patreon, so if you would like more adult content, sign up for my Patreon, which is also Charlie Ragnarok. All the links are linked like through my Instagram. So if you click on my link tree, you'll see all of my links. But yeah, so I do have a Patreon. Thank you for reminding me, Mark. I do post to it. It's not me forgetting it exists. I do post to it.
Nice, Gabe.
Yeah, so probably the best way for me, Mark and I are very similar. Like, Mark, Charlie, and I are very similar. Actually, I think Instagram is like the best to communicate and check out and follow and stay up to date with what we got going on. And then lesser known comics. If you want to buy a book, just lesserknowncomics.com. And we have book 1 available now, and then also you can pre-order book 2. Which is also on the Lesser Known Comics website right now. So, and then we're gonna have digital copies soon. So, what's that face for?
You're just reminding me of the stuff to tell to tell Brian to do. That's the thing about being like a new company. Just like anytime you're just like, oh yeah, I gotta go do that thing.
Right.
So both book 1 and book 2 are available on the website. And then you got book 3 coming out.
Yes, we're gonna be doing a pre-order Kickstarter thingy, and can I say like March, right? Or
right, March,
sure
like March.
Rules, man.
March. There's no spoiler. There's no spoiler problems here. You say whatever your heart desires, man.
Yeah, March is when book 3 is gonna be available for pre-order, and if you like demons and people in the world, cyborg, Mr. Wizard, and you love you.
Sound like a robot.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Yeah, you sound
your
like
whole elevator pitch, broke up.
You're frozen.
I think we're about to lose you.
I got you. So if you guys want that same boring old story about a pineapple demon who traps a bunch of characters in a simulated video game world, and then they slowly become sentient and have to figure out a way to get out, then the Digital Lizards of Doom is the way to go.
It's the book for you.
It is like, because no one knows when they just first hand you a book that's just called Digital Lizards of Doom, like what you're getting into. Like that is a pretty blank check right there. And you will not be disappointed at all. Because I had no background when I got it first mailed to me. So I was just like, what's this going to be about? And it just took me for a ride. Fantastic series.
Mine's an open book. It's just, it is what it is. It's called So I Worked at the Mall,
Well, there you have it. Thanks very much, guys, for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk. It's been great fun. Everyone, please go and check him out. I promise you won't be disappointed. I'm not. You know me. You go watch all my videos. You see my reviews. If it's shit, I'll tell you it's shit. If it's good, I'll tell you if it's good. I won't lie. So go and check them out. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the Talking Pop Culture community. Every month, we do community giveaways, giving out some Amazon gift cards, or maybe give you some money to go and buy a lesser-known comic if you want to choose that. You can do that. But you'll have to pay for the shipping because I'm sure it might be a new price.
I'll send you a bunch of books. To give away.
There we go. We'll do that. But hit the subscribe button. Once we hit 400 subs, we'll also do another big giveaway. We're nearly there. Guys, thank you once again for coming. I appreciate it. And
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And I'll
Thank you.
definitely speak to you guys soon. Thanks, everyone.
Peace.
See ya.
Yeah.